Okay, so we've all been there, haven't we? You set these really big goals, Maybe it's finally going for that master's degree, or like sticking to an exercise plan for real this time, or even just carving out time for proper strategic thinking, not just reacting all day. But then the moment comes. And what do you choose? Often it's the immediate comfort, right? Netflix, social media rabbit holes, grabbing takeout instead of cooking. It feels like this invisible pull away from what you actually want long term. And here's the thing, the really crucial part, this isn't some kind of character flaw. Not at all. Our deep dive today, using insights from decisions, bridging aspiration and action, makes it super clear. It's fundamental brain wiring. So yeah, our mission here is to unpack the science behind that internal battle, help you figure out why immediate comfort wins so often, and maybe, more importantly, how you can actually bridge that gap, between the big dreams and what you do day to day. Turn those plans into action. Okay, let's get into it. Unpack this. Our brain, it seems, it's kind of running on two different systems for decisions, like a dual OS. First, there's the fast one, automatic, laser focused on what feels good right now. That's often called the limbic system. Think of it as your brain's instant reward button. Then, contrasting that, you've got the slower system, more deliberate. That's the part that handles the long-term plans, the complex thinking, seeing the future. Your prefrontal cortex, it's the planner, the strategist in your head.
Right. And what's really striking is just how often that fast limbic system basically wins the argument, especially when we're tired. Think about this scenario. It's pretty common. It's, say, 6 p.m. Tuesday. You're wiped out from work, mentally drained. You got a choice. Drag yourself to a brainstorming session. It could be good for your career, right? Or order some food, crash on the couch, binge watch that show everyone's talking about. Your limbic system instantly sees the appeal of option B. Comfort, entertainment, zero mental effort. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, the part that knows the meaning, is probably the smarter long-term play. It's running on fumes already. It's had a long day of making choices.
That scenario, yeah, that hits home. It really captures that daily tug of war perfectly. And it's not just the big career stuff, is it? It happens all the time. It's that, okay, should I actually work on that master's application tonight? Or just, scroll Instagram for a bit? Or meal prep for the week? Nah, I'll just grab fast food. Again. And each tiny choice, it feels like nothing, right? Insignificant. But add them all up, and that's what dictates whether you actually get anywhere near your goals. Or just stay kind of stuck. It's almost sneaky how these small, seemingly harmless decisions pile up.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, if we look under the hood, biologically speaking, a massive factor here is dopamine. Our brain's reward pathway, heavily influenced by dopamine, is just incredibly biased towards the short term. You get that dopamine spike, not just from the reward itself, but even when you anticipate getting that immediate pleasure, that anticipation, that little chemical hit before you even do the thing. That's powerful. It creates this strong pull. So the real challenge isn't just willpower in the moment. It's more about re-engineering what your brain expects to feel good. Evolutionarily, this totally made sense. Find food now, find shelter now, survive now. Immediate rewards were key. But today, with constant easy dopamine hits everywhere, phone notifications, junk food, endless entertainment, that same system can really derail our bigger plans. The insights suggest we almost need to become like architects of our own anticipation.
Okay, but it's not hopeless. That's the good news, right? The really interesting bit, where the research offers a path forward, is that we're not just, puppets of our ancient brain wiring. We can actually work with these tendencies, not fight them head on all the time. And the key seems to be this idea of intentional planning, making those distant goals feel, well, more immediate, more rewarding somehow.
Exactly. It starts with understanding how your brain assigns value. It's constantly weighing options, right? But that calculation is massively skewed by timing and how vivid the reward seems. So a reward is right here, right now, and really concrete, like eating a donut you can see and smell, that almost always wins. It wins against something far off and abstract, like getting healthier, even if intellectually you know better. It's just a biological reality we have to work with.
So, okay, how do we make those long-term things feel more real, more tangible now? The strategy, as we're seeing, is breaking down those huge, maybe overwhelming goals. Chunk them into smaller, manageable steps. Short-term tasks that can give you those little dopamine hits along the way. Take that master's degree example again. Instead of just dreaming about the diploma years down the road, you create these micro goals like, okay, this week just complete one module, or draft 3 solid paragraphs for my application essay. Or maybe even just reach out to 2 people already in the program. Concrete things, achievable things.
And this bit is crucial. Link a reward to completing those micro goals. Your brain needs that positive reinforcement. It doesn't have to be big. Treat yourself to your favorite coffee after you submit that essay draft. Or just take literally 2 minutes to write down in a journal, hey, I did the thing I planned to do. Acknowledge the progress. These aren't just like silly treats, they're strategic moves. You're actively teaching your brain to connect, working on the long-term goal with feeling good now. And the timing matters hugely. The reward needs to come right after the task, immediately. If you wait hours or days, the connection is lost. Your brain's moved on.
Okay, but what about when life just throws a wrench in the works? You know, those external things you can't control, a sudden company restructure messing up your career plans, or a family situation that means suddenly that course you planned is impossible right now. It's so frustrating. It can make you feel completely powerless, like all your careful planning was for nothing. How do we handle that? How do we keep our long-term vision alive when the ground shifts under us?
That's a really important point. And this is where your social network, your connections become incredibly valuable. A critical decision-making resource, actually. When you're in the middle of that kind of upheaval, feeling emotional, maybe stressed or uncertain, your own perspective gets really narrow. You might only see the problems, the obstacles. You might catastrophize. But tapping into the collective intelligence of your network friends, mentors, colleagues you trust, maybe even online groups, gives you more data points, different angles. They can offer perspectives you hadn't considered, share strategies that work for them, help you spot unexpected opportunities hiding in the disruption. Maybe that restructure, yeah, it's disruptive, but maybe it opens up a new kind of role. Or someone shares how they juggled family and study part-time. It's about accessing a wider pool of experience and insight than you have on your own.
That makes a lot of sense. And the advice seems to be don't wait until the crisis hits. Be intentional about building and nurturing that network before you desperately need it.
Right. Like actively cultivate relationships. Join those professional groups. Go to industry things, even virtual ones. Participate in forums related to your goals. It's like proactively building your own personal board of advisors.
Exactly like that. It really underlines this idea that resilience isn't purely about individual toughness or grit. It's also about knowing when and how to lean on that collective wisdom. It helps you get past the immediate emotional reaction, stay focused on the big picture, that long-term vision, even when things feel chaotic.
So, bringing this all together then, how do we make this work day to day? What does it look like to actually sustain progress? Right, because good intentions aren't enough. We know that. Sustained progress, making better decisions consistently, really demands having systems in place. Systems for tracking and systems for motivation. A key piece is having some kind of visual progress tracker, something that makes your progress tangible, visible. Could be a spreadsheet, sure, or a habit tracking app on your phone, even just a physical wall calendar where you put a big check mark every day you do the thing. The tool itself doesn't matter as much as using it consistently. And tracking does a few things. Gives you real data on what you're actually doing, creates accountability, and importantly, seeing those check marks build up. That itself is reinforcing. It feels good.
And it's not just tracking, is it? There's this need for stepping back regularly, reviewing. The research points to setting up regular check-ins, maybe weekly, maybe monthly, to look at the data, see what's working, celebrate the wins, even small ones, but also spot the obstacles. Where are you getting stuck? And then you can tweak your strategy. It creates this essential feedback loop.
Absolutely essential. And within that system, think consciously about your rewards. You need those small, immediate rewards for the daily actions like we talked about.
Yeah.
But also plan for more substantial rewards when you hit bigger milestones. Finishing a major project phase, completing a course, hitting a quarterly target. The key word here is proportionality. The reward should feel like it matches the effort and the achievement's significance. Again, it's all about reinforcing that link in your brain. Effort towards the big goal leads to positive outcomes.
And one last really crucial point, I think, something we often forget, building in forgiveness. Forgiveness for the setbacks, the days you slip up, the times you don't make the ideal choice, because that'll happen. Our brains have this negativity bias, right? We tend to zoom in on the failures, the missed days. The advice is to consciously counter that. Treat those setbacks not as proof you're failing or as some kind of judgment on your character, but just as data. Information. Okay, that didn't work. Why? What can I adjust? It takes the sting out of it.
Yeah, that reframing is so important. When you pull all these threads together, what becomes really clear is that our choices, our actions, they aren't just these isolated acts of willpower. They're really the outcome of the systems, the environments, the practices we build around ourselves. Do they support our long-term goals or do they undermine them? So by understanding our brain's quirks, by planning intentionally, by tapping into our networks, and by tracking our progress strategically, that's how we start to genuinely align what we do every day with what we truly aspire to achieve.
That's the shift, isn't it? It's not about aiming for perfection, trying to eliminate every single bad decision. That's impossible and probably exhausting. It's more about consistently, deliberately tipping the balance. Just slightly more often, choosing the thing that moves you forward. Those choices compound. Start small. Stay consistent. And trust that making better decisions is actually a skill. Like any skill, it gets better with practice, deliberate practice. And maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. Every single moment, really, offers a fresh chance to choose differently. The real question isn't if you'll face tough choices between the immediate and the important. It will. We all do. The question is, will you have the tools, the mindset, the systems ready to help you make those choices wisely?